Revolution. So people talk about the Industrial Revolution, me I talk about the Artist Revolution. That's when the artists started to paint plein air, go outside, and that's when the Impressionists came into the world. And at the time you have to understand that they were really not recognized. They were like counterculture, they were, you know, like very avant-garde. For the little story, it's thanks to the America, thanks to the United States, that the Impressionists came to life. And which was, and you'll see, today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the book that we've developed, that we produced, called the Sennelier book, and that's where we talk about the that special relationship. So at the time in 1900, no, in the 1800s, in the 19th century, you had all these artists that started to paint outside, to start to paint plein air, and you had at the same time that store, the Sennelier store, in where is the image here? So this is in 1880, you know, in Paris, across from the Louvre, next to the L'École des Beaux-Arts. That's where the artists such as Cézanne, Pissarro, Monet would go and hang out. And that's where the company, Mr. Sennelier, Gustave Sennelier, came and started to create the paint for those artists. And it was very magic because it was the first time before the artists had to paint in their studio using the paint from pig's blood, you know, bladder, and now we started to make the paint in tubes, which was one of the revolution of the 19th century. That's the kind of relationship I'm talking about. Another one, which we show here, if I show you this, it was actually in, I believe in 1900, you have Edgar Degas, who came to Paris. He was coming from the south of France, and he came to Paris and he was inspired to paint ballerinas, you know, to go into the opera. And at the time it was not very convenient to do oil painting in the opera house, so he came to the Sennelier store and asked whether they could make pastels using those very special colors that he was using. So that's how the Sennelier soft pastel were created. With now 525 colors. At the time, we had made up to 900 colors. And so for him, you know, and we were able to use the exact same pigment that he was using in south of France in oil paint, but we put it in pastels. So same thing with Cézanne. Cézanne was always painting the Montagne Sainte-Victoire, and then, you know, the pigment, you know, all are beautiful red ochre, or there's a very special color that Vanessa will show you later, the Chinese orange, you know, which were all colors that the pigment come from that area, you know, and we're making the paint. And so this is the kind of legacy I'm talking about.